That takes the board member comments. Mr. Dodd.
Thank everybody for coming out tonight, and especially these teachers. And, like the lady said, I'm for consolidation, but I think it needs to be fair. So far, most of the school, closing a newer school and going to an older school, that's not, to me, it's not fair. Just keeping that school open because the Covington people, that's the only way that deal would go through if they kept high school open, from what I was told. So, I'm glad y'all came out and everybody else that came out. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Munson.
I really appreciate you being here. I have preached this since I took a vote on consolidating the two schools. I'm not against consolidating the two schools, but I am against closing middle school. That's practically a new school compared to Covington. I mean, it took us forever to get this school built. We even had to build a bridge to it. We're good at building bridges. We build bridges everywhere. But to close this school is just, this goes against my grain. And if that's the only way we can consolidate this to a piece in Covington, that's wrong. You got to give and take on both sides, and we give a lot. The county gives a lot. And I don't want to give up this school. I don't want our kids to have to move out of this school. What are you going to put in there? I mean, you're going to put college kids with our grade school kids? And it just doesn't make sense to me. It's a beautiful school. I mean, it is state-of-the-art, beautiful school. And it just, I tell you, it really burns me, and I'll fight until it happens. I would say the majority of this board agrees with me. We hold the purse strings. We can stop this. It says it's already gone to the state. The state don't care what school we use. They're benefiting from this consolidation. They're stopping funding of two schools to fund one school system. So they're making it better than we are. So keep plugging away. Don't stop. I'm not.
Mr. Bennett.
I can't argue with you. You make a good point. But at the same time, I was involved in trying to put the governments and the schools together 2 times prior to that over the last 20 years. And it must have been 10, 15 years ago, I was told by someone that Covington High School had always been a building of prominence in their city. And the only way we'd have to ever put these together is it had to remain a building of prominence. Even one of the consolidation efforts, I was on the school consolidation committee with a representative from Covington City Council. And we had a lot of meetings, had some consultants. There was 2 or 3 gentlemen from Virginia Tech. And I'll never forget, we met them early one morning at the Holiday, at the Times Holiday Inn Express before they left. And we knew that was going to be all the was Covington High School, and I still remember one of them telling me the only way you can close a school is you have to make it more important than what it was before. And we worked hard. We went, we talked to the medicals, colleges from White Sulphur. We went every which way trying to find some kind of community college program, something we could move back into that building. Anyway, we never found it, so, and that's part of the reason we failed one of the last 2 times. Is that we couldn't find something of prominence to use that building for. But also during those early negotiations, the holdup was that Covington would be the high school, and we would keep the middle school in the county. So, I mean, they gave some on this thing too. I mean, it's true.
They did.
Logic played into it this time because Alleghany should have always been the high school because of its proximity to JRTC. So I got to give them credit for going that route. That was a smart move. we couldn't get past that the last 2 times over the last 20 years. But I can't argue, you make a good point, but at the same time, through all the negotiations, we have an agreement, so we'll see. That's all.
Ms. Cox?
I promised myself I wasn't going to talk tonight because I promised my doctor, but I got to. I got a couple of things I do want to say is, one, I do appreciate all the teachers coming out. They made some very valid points that I never thought of with it. And Katie, I think that you knocked it out of the park when you spoke on coaching.
Thank you.
When you got up, I was like, there's no way, but then I remember you graduated my daughter, and
Yeah,
you're both,
Willie Springs.
you're teaching. And the thing is with teachers is, they teach. And so you came and you taught us something tonight.
Thank you so
And
much.
you opened my eyes, because I really didn't think about the, with the coaching and, the gymnasiums and how you had to do it. So I appreciate that. And of course, I knew Lori, when she got up and was going to talk, I knew she'd hit it out of the ballpark anyway, so with it. But I do want to say I appreciate it. And you definitely opened my mind to different ways of thinking tonight, so thank you for
Absolutely.
that.
Thank you so much.
If that's what you came to do, was open minds, I think that you definitely achieved that. So we'll go from there on there. I want to always, of course, thank Dolores for coming and giving us an update on that. It's always nice to hear an update of what's going on with that project. And my last thing is, I probably should keep my mouth shut because probably not too many people's going to like this, but I will. So I was at the chamber event, and we have been talking about the lack of internet service in an area that I represent. Well, I call it the Crows area, but a little bit further. And I had mentioned at our last meeting that, in November, Lumos had mentioned that they didn't say their service area. They mentioned that Alleghany County is fully covered. There's a difference, okay? At the chamber, Lumos, the lady got up and said it again. And if it hadn't have been for me having my granddaughter on my lap, and Greg, I know you looked at me, I would have probably confronted her with it, because all of Alleghany County is not covered with service. There's an area there, and I believe that there was a board member in the past that called it the Lost Colony, because people forget. And I looked to make sure, and it really is still a part of Alleghany County. It is not West Virginia. And we have students up there that need internet. And yes, they have HughesNet and they can do other things, but those services, one, are very expensive, and two, they are not worth the money they pay for it, because half the time they don't have service. So I know that as a county, we're very limited on what we can do with that, but I can tell you that those folks are not going to let this die. Don't be surprised if they're not here at the next meeting. And I'm like Cletus is with the schools, is I will go the whole way with them. I don't know what can be done. I know last time we mentioned the board, getting behind and at least, showing the support of it. But, and I know that they've been told to call the State Corporation Commission. A lot of them have done that. Of course, when they've tried to call Lumos and when they've tried to call Frontier, there's, they don't get any response to that. But we need not to forget that group of people, because they are citizens. They do live in Alleghany County, although they have Frontier service. They would love to have Frontier internet if it was made available, but I think there's 6 miles there that Frontier service is not available, and Lumos doesn't go up that far. So first of all, Lumos needs to quit speaking the wrong information, and they need to stay in their covered area is 100%. So maybe we should teach them that. And second is we need to stay on top of it, because I think this has been an issue that they've been trying to get straightened out way before. I've been on the board for, 11, 12 years, and it's way before my time. So I'm going to be a champion for them, and I will not let it stop. And I'm going to stop talking.
Dr. Goins.
I am glad that the Clifton Forge middle school teachers are here. I understand your issue. You did do some education tonight in a meeting in front of the Board of Supervisors because we learned something. I don't see why we are closing the middle school in Longmore area. I do not know why we are moving the middle school to Covington. I would hate to think that it's a done deal. It's already decided, and that nobody can change anybody else's mind. I would hate to think that that is the case, and I would like somebody to tell me if they think that is the case. Because I don't want to close it. I look at some of your numbers here. The middle school building is larger, and we're talking about potentially closing Sharon School, potentially closing some other schools. Where are we going to put them? We are going to say, I wish we had that building back. I wish we had never left it. So I think that we ought to, I'm almost tempted to say, rip up the agreement and start over. Thank you.
Mr. Griffin.
I answer Mr. Goins' question. I was not in favor of shutting the middle school, but the process has now gone to the point where the new school system has already been allotted a number and is being paid, and it's went through the General Assembly. Reversing it now won't happen without going to and reversing it through the House of Representatives and through the Senate, unfortunately. When we had the public hearings last summer, that's when you guys should have been down there.
It was never published. Nobody knew.
It was advertised.
Where was it advertised?
It was advertised in the paper and internet. and-
Not everybody gets. I don't get the paper. You should
It
advertise.
was advertised.
I mean, the teachers had no idea what was going on.
Also, at a time where teachers were overwhelmed with COVID, I don't want to say that we overlooked it, but in a situation where there were bigger issues than consolidation, such as a pandemic, it felt
But
smaller.
were there many Alleghany people?
Yes, and it was held at the middle school.
But when was this?
In the summer, spring.
We had some,
We had,
honestly,
we had
couldn't tell you
two. We had
exactly
one
what it
at
was. I know we
Covington High
got-
School and had one at the middle school. Spring, when we had that meeting?
It was a done deal. I can tell you from the start, it was a done deal. We met at the high school. When they voted on it, we met with Covington
Right.
and the board and Covington City Council. They voted that night. I was the only one in opposition to it. Yeah, this,
But the housing, the whole process, all the subcommittees should still be on the website of the Joint School Services Committee, under their website.
That was something that we were told that we could just look at that and would not have any of our questions answered. We had a meeting and we were told, no questions.
that part of it could still be changed. The school part could still be changed.
So there's hope.
Yeah, it can be.
Well, any deal could be undone.
Yeah, it's a process, like I said.
Absolutely, but this whole thing has been a process that we've not even been a part of.
Right.
School superintendents didn't have a conversation with nobody?
No, she told us she would not answer any questions when she met with us.
I mean, we were truly blindsided by a lot of this. I mean, I know that you're saying it was public, and I understand that, but like we were saying, you know, the stress that we've been under lately is just, I don't think anybody outside the education field understands. So I just think that a lot of this was done without, you know, like we taught you all a lot of things. Why weren't we asked this stuff ahead of time? Why weren't something sent out to us saying, we want to hear from you, the teachers, your opinion? We're even hearing from some of our Covington teachers that they don't want to leave their, like if it's from Jeter Watson, they don't want to leave their new school to go to an older school. So, I mean, there's just a lot that it doesn't make sense to us.
The 2 surveys that went out, did anybody participate in those?
What surveys?
Yeah, we weren't surveys.
It was,
No, which survey we got?
The only survey we got was about the colors.
Yeah.
To send to the students.
We didn't vote on that.
We couldn't even
Yeah,
vote
the
on
teachers weren't
that.
allowed to vote on that, it was just the students.
It was just students. And some of those colors were ridiculous.
Well, let me just be clear, we're not here tonight to be confrontational. It does go, there has been another board that has, you know, and I want it, and Mr. Griffith's on it, along with some members from the Covington area and administration.
Well, we were asked to meet with you guys,
Correct.
and
Who asked you to meet with us?
we asked
Oh,
to
okay.
meet with you guys. for one
Absolutely, that's why we have
committee,
public comment.
And we didn't get that.
Tonight or prior
No,
to?
prior, this is a few months ago.
Okay, well, it's my time to speak right now, and I'll be glad to, you know, do a few, or make a few comments. It wasn't long ago that, I guess when I first got on the board, that we shut down 2 schools. Everybody remember that? How many of those teachers were relocated? Was it 100%? Did everybody keep their job?
Central and, it was.
No, ma'am. And that was done because of cost. It was done because of cost. There were 2 schools shut down. There were jobs lost. Not everybody kept their job. Now, I know this is an inconvenience of going from a room you've been in for 20, 22 years. That building was built in 2001. We're now at 22, so yeah, over 20 years. I know that's an inconvenience. But I'll tell you, another inconvenience would be shutting down another school and raising taxes to keep our school system in the shape it is. It costs a lot to run a school system. It costs a lot to provide education, athletics, everything entailed with a school system. Both municipalities have gotten to the point where you can't keep that going forever and keep every light on and keep every building open. This was done for everybody and for the children. And whatever school we closed, there was going to be an issue. And I know that. Everybody involved knows that whichever school we closed or was changed, that it inconvenienced somebody. And it's no plan is absolutely perfect, no matter who makes it or what they do. But you can't continue to run 2 school systems to full capacity the way both municipalities have. How many times has it been brought up this evening? Increased costs. Everything's gone up. Cost of doing business is increased exponentially. Cost of insurance has increased exponentially. Our student rate is not going up. Our population is not going up. How long can you keep that? How long until you have to raise taxes 10, 12%, yearly? I admire Mr. Nicely's encouragement, but I didn't see that when we closed Falling Spring School, and I didn't see that when we closed Boiling Spring School. And that was 10 years ago, or 12, 14 years ago? And that we lost jobs because of that. And we lost income because of that. This is the best, although not perfect, compromise that could be made. And that's where I'll leave it.